Ba-da-ba-ba-da-boo-boo. Hey, did you hear the Kelly Green jerseys are back? Man, I love a Kelly Green jersey. The Kelly Green jerseys are fantastic. They are probably my favorite jersey in Philadelphia sports history. Let's talk about the Kelly Green jerseys and other some of our other favorite colors for the next hour. I like the color blue. I like the color black, but every time I say my favorite color is black, someone goes, it's not a color, it's the absence of color. And I'm like, shut up, it's my favorite color. I don't care. If it comes in a box of crayons with a name on it, then it's a color as far as I'm concerned. I like black. You know what? Kelly Green, now that I think of it, is actually my favorite of the greens. I hate all other greens, even the midnight green, as far as just the color in general. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. You know why? It's because my brother, his favorite color growing up, and probably still to this day, is green. And that's probably why I don't like it, because just anything my brother liked, I had to hate as a kid. That's just the way that went. So anyway, that's a deep dive into my psychology. I'll talk about anything. Ask me anything you want in the chat during the show today. People on the podcast, feel free to hit me up. Anything to put off talking about that Phillies game last night. I know we got to talk about it because we're all in it together, ladies and gentlemen. We're all in it together. 5-0 lead. Blown. Bullpen. 8 hits. 4 walks. Definitely not a good bullpen appearance. Zach Wheeler, 6 innings. 2 runs. 2 runs. Back-to-back home runs there. That's not good. But he still 6 innings, 2 runs is pretty good. And Trea Turner, ladies and gentlemen, Trea Turner. I have never seen an athlete that is coming into Philadelphia of such a proven commodity look so damn lost. It is unbelievable. It's unbelievable to the point where I'm sure I'm angry in the moment where he lets a game-winning or game-tying RBI just go, little base hit there, go right by him. I'm angry that he literally had the 3rd worst option. I watched it again last night, that double play ball, quote unquote, in the 8th inning. I watched it again. I don't think he turns 2 on it, but the play, the number one choice is to go to second on that ball. And then try to turn 2 to get Birdie running to first. That's the number one play. Number 2, after that, because the bases are loaded and it's a force play, you go home. His momentum is carrying him home. It looked like he had time. Here, look, just right out of the gate. And for the people on the podcast, again, I apologize. I'm showing a picture and I'm describing the picture here, but in the picture here, I freeze framed it, okay, to the point where Trea Turner is reeling back with the throw. All right? He's going to first to get the out there. There's bases loaded, 1 out. He clearly, at the top of the screen, middle of the screen, really, with this here, but clearly has the play at second base. Stott's covering the bag. He can throw to second. He can get that out. Maybe with a little bit of luck, they turn 2. Inning over. It's not a 5-4 ball game at the close of that inning. It's a 5-3 ball game. So you give the bullpen a little bit more leeway there. The play is at second base. The second best option, and I forgot who's running home at this point, but the second best option is going home. The interesting thing here is that Stubbs doesn't look like he's covering. It doesn't look like he's ready for the throw there at home. So maybe that's not the best option. But the best option is second. Maybe he comes home, and then he just decides to go for the force out at first, the play at first, and let the run score. Now, the fact that it's a force gives me confidence that he could have come home and gotten the out. I think I know what happened on this play. Trea Turner didn't say this is what happened on this play. I didn't hear him asked about this play after the game. But basically what happened was, I think Trea Turner didn't even attempt to throw to second base or home and just thought he could get the only sure out that he could think of, which was going to first base at this point. I think what happened was a runner crossed in front of him. He had to wait a little tiny bit extra to get to that baseball. And that split second that he had to wait, in his mind, felt like an eternity, and he had to rush to make a play. Now, he really wound up and geared up to throw to first to get the out. And, yeah, he beat Birdie by, a step. All right? It wasn't very close, but it was close. So that makes me think that he wasn't going to be able to turn two. But that's still the number one play to make in that situation. Instead, he just threw to first. I can chalk this up as a brain fart, all right, from Trea Turner. I can certainly chalk it up as a brain fart. What I can't chalk up as a brain fart is his entire season. Look, was it a tough ball hit to him in the 11th inning off the bat of Josh Bell? Yeah, it was a tough ball. He's just got to knock it down. He's got to try to get in front of that ball. And I give Trea Turner credit. He addressed the media after the game. He stood there at the locker and he answered questions and all that. And what he said about the play off the bat of Bell that ended up tying the game again in the 11th inning was that it was slicing away from him and he just tried to get to it and he couldn't. This guy is in his own head now. And I know that Ricky Bo was talking about possibly putting him down for a whole series. I don't know what needs to with Trea Turner right now. I think we're like the days off thing. I don't even know what that's going to do for him. Like, this isn't talking about him dropping him down in the order from leadoff hitter to then second to then cleanup hitter and then back to second and then now he's batting 6th or 7th in your order. This isn't a batting order thing. This is a playing at all thing now with Trea Turner because he is hurting the team. Now that he's a 7-hole hitter, you can lose him for a minute. Series, a week, whatever it's going to be. We've seen guys, come in, or we've seen guys that we've raised here in Philadelphia. Ryan Howard would go through epic, slumps. Chase Utley would certainly hit walls during the season. Jimmy Rollins would hit walls. All these greats that were proven commodities here in Philadelphia, they'd go through slumps. Raul Ibanez, a proven commodity, came in here, had an all-star first half of the season, a great start, and then he would just go through lulls, man. Like, we've seen guys come in here and be disappointments in, free agency, acquisitions, and stuff like that. I've never seen a guy as proven a commodity as Trea Turner come in and look as lost as he has looked this season. The month of June, I've mentioned it many times. It was great. 270 plus batting average, 278, I believe it was, and 353 on base percentage. That's the guy. All right, he's turned the corner. And now he's back. He's back to terrible at the plate and at the field. And you can't trust him to help you win a game. And Rob Thompson was asked about it after the game, and he did say, are you concerned about a guy's mental state, essentially? And he's like, yeah, sure. Absolutely. I think we have reached a point with Trea Turner where this is a multiple. This isn't a day off thing. This is a benched thing, and you'll get your job back when we feel like you can help the team win games. Trea Turner right now, you know what he is? He's a pinch runner. That's what he is. And it pains me to say that. I was with a lot of other people that thought, this is great. Sign Trea Turner. $300 million. Not my money. Who cares? Trea Turner. And now it's like, okay, they got a $300 million pinch runner right now. Seems like a steep price for someone that can run faster than somebody else that got on base, It's insane. That's what the Phillies have. It's difficult to wrap your mind around it, but that's where we're at right now. And the approach at the plate isn't there. He had a really nice at-bat in the game. I think it was an 8-pitch at-bat where he worked a walk, which was great. But everything else, for the majority of his at-bats, and he's never been a guy to really go deep in counts often. But he's also never been a guy to go through this kind of struggle. When he's struggling like this, you can't see him swinging at the first pitch. We've talked about this for months now. If that's the approach they're trying to set, him and Kevin Long, if that's the approach they're trying to set right now, and all right, you're in a slump, so go up there and be aggressive. That, what that sounds like to me? That sounds like, hey, here's an invitation to press. Here's an invitation to push a little too hard. Instead of letting it just, hey, ride out, man. Find that right pitch to hit. I don't know if, hey, look, they had a night left in Florida last night, right? They had a night left in Miami. They got the fourth game of the 4-game series. It wraps up today, this afternoon at 12:10. Maybe go to that Nick Castellanos home batting cage. Maybe that's what you do. Nick Castellanos was in his batting cage 2 nights ago till 1 a.m. just in there hacking, man. And then 2 hits last night, another RBI last night. He had a game-winning 2-run home run for you 2 nights ago. Maybe there's something in that Nick Castellanos home batting cage. Side note, I've always wanted a home batting cage, and maybe one day I'll build one in the backyard now that I'm in the burbs and everything. But maybe that's what Trea Turner needs. But here's what Rob Thompson needs to do. Trey, you're on the bench for the foreseeable future. Maybe we'll pinch run you, and you'll steal some bases, and then you know what? We'll work your way up to hitting again, and then you'll hit, and then maybe you'll work your way up to being a shortstop again. Everything is on the table right now with the Phillies. Everything is on the table with Trea Turner right now. For the people that say he's a $300 million guy, you can't, change his position. You can't bench him. Oh, yeah, you can. Because forget about him and $300 million. Okay, forget about that for a second, all right? I know it's difficult, but try it, okay? This is a $243 million lineup, okay? 243. Well, some of it's the rotation, but you get what I'm saying. The payroll is 243 million. So you can't have one guy, even if he is making the big bucks, make all that other money look really stupid. And how does that money look stupid? You miss the playoffs. And as of right now, where the Phillies sit, they're a half game up in the second wild card over the Brewers, over the Marlins. Marlins are still in the playoff hunt right now. They have the same record, same winning percentage, obviously, as the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers have a slight edge right there. Diamondbacks are a game out. Cubs are 2.5 games out. Padres 4 games out, and the Mets all the way down there at 7. Womp, womp. So that's where the Phillies are right now. You can't have one of the big money guys cost the rest of the other big money guys. And that's what Trea Turner's doing right now. The guy can't get out of his own way. He can't get out of his own head. It's not a matter of, when I say everything's on the table, it's not a matter of like a day off or two. Not a matter of bumping him down in the order even more. Like, well, I'm going to send a message. He's still going to play, but he's going to bat 9th, and Rojas is going to bat 8th. That's how you send him out. No, everything's on the table. From a whole series off, from a benching, to changing his position to be a second baseman as opposed to a shortstop and moving Stott back to short, to him batting 9th or not batting at all. Like, here's where I'm at. He at least needs to shut it down for a series. At least. They just need to, you're out. This is the lineup we have the most confidence in winning. If you're going to be struggling from the plate as bad as he has struggled all season long, you can't be struggling in the field the way he has been. And this isn't nothing new. This isn't anything new. Sir, he's made a couple of great plays throughout the season. But a shortstop, you'll luck into some great plays. He had that one play where he saved that RBI single in the extra innings with Hoffman there 2 weeks ago. That was a great play. He's made some great plays. But for the most part, it's been very inconsistent this season. And you can't have that, especially if you're going into 12-inning games against a team that is in the same playoff hunt that you're in right now. It was awful. And by the way, the Phillies on their leads, I want to make sure I get this right. This is insane. I didn't know this until I woke up this morning and I flipped on the old Sports Center, and they had a really good stat on the Phillies and the Marlins. Listen to this. Since 2018, the Marlins are 4-20. 4-20 when trailing by 5+ runs against the Phillies. They're 0-168 against everyone else. So, you know what that means? That means they come back on the Phillies more than anybody. Good times. Good times. That is absolutely abysmal. Where are you at in your Trea Turner evaluation right now? Flat up benching? Series off? Switch positions? Bop him down in the order even more? Where are you at? Or are you just with me on the idea of, he's just a pinch runner now. That's where we're at in life. Our $300 million pinch runner. It was such a rough game last night, ladies and gentlemen. It was definitely the toughest loss of the season, without question. No doubt about that. It's like one of those losses where in the moment, yeah, I'm pissed. And then it goes into one of those, like, I'm just disappointed. Like, I'm really disappointed. Disappointed is where it goes right after that. And it was embarrassing. Make no mistake about it, how embarrassing it was. You look at the fact that you go into this game, you grab the 5-0 lead, you get hits from Castellanos, you get hits from Stott. Alec Boehm had a monster game. He was 4 for 6 with 3 runs batted in. You go up 5-0. Then you give up the back-to-back home runs in the 6th inning. You make it a 5-2 game. You go to the bullpen. Gives up the 8 hits and 4 walks, and you just can't have that. It goes from 5-0 to 5-3 in that 8th inning. Then it's a 5-5 ball game. Then it's a 7-5 ball game in favor of the Phillies. Then it's an 8-7 ball game in favor of the Phillies. And then in the 12th inning, the Marlins handled their business. It was a very, very rough game, to say the absolute least. Where you at? Let me know in the comments when it comes to Trea Turner and what you're going to do with him. Straight up benching, planned series off. Will you announce that the series that he's just, hey, no, he's not going to be available in this Giants series? Where do you go? Where do you go? It's just left searching for answers, folks. And the Phillies can't find any of them, unfortunately. So you have the Royals coming to town, you have the Nationals coming to town, and you have the Twins coming to town. Then you go to Toronto, then you go to Washington, and then you host the Giants at the end of the month. Phillies have a long homestand coming up here. I don't know if you want Trea Turner right out of the gate going up against a team like the Royals, and a bad team like the Royals. I don't say that with respect. I say that with you don't want him choking against a team like the Royals. That'll just be an end all be all. I feel like the Phillies could really do him a favor if they sit him for that Royals series for one main reason. It would at least give a definite reset to Trea Turner. It would absolutely give him a reset. It would give you a reason to go, all right, this is another shot. You just shut it down for 3 games, maybe even 4 games, because there's no way he should be in the lineup today either. It would be a reset. Okay, you know what? Let's see how he does. Other guys have gone down to the minors. This is, I guess, the veteran way of going to the minors and then coming back up is just your bench for an entire series. And I think this would be the time to do it. I think he's not in the lineup today. And I think he is out of the lineup entirely against the Royals. Now, that's not to say he just absolutely doesn't play. Maybe, like I said, maybe he does pinch run. Maybe you have an opportunity in extra innings where you can sub him in there. I don't know. But you can't play him. It is so bad, man. It is so bad right now. But that's the way I see it going. A couple other things. Rob Thompson. So Craig Kimbrell couldn't pitch in the 9th inning for the save. Gregory Soto ended up giving a game-tying home run. So he wasn't available. You get into extra innings in the 10th inning, he's available. I've never seen Craig Kimbrell do the intentional balk. Joe the Cynic on Twitter. I don't remember this personally, but he shouted out Kenley Jansen used to do it. I don't remember that, but I believe him. I can't say I've ever remember Craig Kimbrell doing it, but when I saw it, I went, was that? It was so intentional that I was like, that was intentional. Like, it was so deliberate that I was like, he did that on purpose. And then he literally looks at the second base umpire and is like, hey, he should go to second because I just balked. I've never seen that before. Pitcher telling himself. And the reason was because he didn't want him looking into his mitt and telling what pitches were coming. So, okay, all right, bold. Very next play, ground out RBI. Now it's a 1-run ball game instead of a 2-run ball game after Brandon Marsh was kind enough to give you a 2-run lead with a 2-run homer on the top of the 10th inning. But there we are. And then, of course, they end up scoring another run in the 10th inning, and they tie things up again. Alec Boehm got to the lead back and all that. But Craig Kimbrell, not available in the 9th, but available in the 10th. Thompson said after the game that he was trying to avoid using Craig Kimbrell for 4 games in 6 days, which seemed odd. The That doesn't seem like a crazy workload to me, but that's what they opted for, and that's what ended up happening, unfortunately. So that's the spot they put him in. But again, there's a lot of struggles. And then also with that whole play, later in the ball game, let me make sure I have this timing, the situation right here. 10th inning, 7-6 ball game. Garcia's at the plate. He gets the RBI ground out. Berger then steps up, gets a single. Sanchez gets a double. That was after the Kimbrel intentional balk. Okay. So Chisholm goes to third. Garcia gets the RBI ground out. Then there's a single and a double. So you have second and third with one out. You have first base open. He pitches to Birdie instead of putting him on base to face Stallings. That seemed odd to me. Birdie ends up hitting that long fly ball down the right field line. Castellanos goes back on it, makes a game-saving catch. He doesn't get to that ball. You have 2 runs scoring, and that's the end of the ball game. Castellanos goes back, makes a play, but then the game-tying run scores on that play. If you walk Birdie, you set up a potential double play. And for whatever reason, they opted not to do that at that part of the game. And then, 11th inning, damn it. And that's that. Where do we go from here, folks? Where do we go from here? We're all in it together. Hey, you know what? Phillies will be back at it today. Michael Lorenzen gets the start. Hey, Barstool Smitty will be joining us coming up in just a moment. And I do apologize because we recorded this interview before the game. So there's notes of Phillies optimism. And I know nobody's feeling the optimism. The only reason I'm playing the interview is because we're talking to Eagles as well. So we're going to stick with it. But just know that we recorded it before the game when there was still some optimism after winning the way they did in game 2. So there you go. Just know that. Speaking of the Eagles, I will be on Birds 365 today, not talking Phillies. Obviously, I'll be talking. Well, Jody and I will probably talk baseball for 30 seconds just to bury our sorrows about this game, drown our sorrows. But we'll be talking about the Eagles, of course, and training camp and all that fun stuff. On Birds 365, I'll be on at 8:30 today with Jody McDonald. Mike Sealski, foe of the chat. It's been a minute since we've had Sealski on this show. But he'll be on Birds 365, and we'll discuss all things Eagles. And I look forward to that conversation. As for my feeling on the Birds right now, going into what will be day 5 of training camp, I find myself being extremely optimistic about the Eagles. And I know I'm not alone when I say that. But there's just this sense right now that Howie and Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, they got us. They got us. Like, if things are down in the basketball world, like James Harden, we don't know the outcome there. If the Phillies tank a game here like they did last night, there's this sense of, even at training camp, the season hasn't even started. The preseason isn't even here yet for the Eagles. 9 days till training camp, or excuse me, till preseason gets underway for the Eagles. It just feels like this overwhelming sense of, we're going to be good. No matter what happens with either of those other teams that could be playing in October, no matter what, the Eagles are there to catch us. And even right now, before the games, you're hearing phenomenal things about Jalen Carter. You're hearing great things about Jordan Davis. Nakobe Dean actually was turning heads 2 days ago with the pads on. Reed Blankenship got to lay down some hits at practice 2 days ago. You're getting to hear this optimism coming out of camp and how excited the veterans are to play with some of these younger guys and be their mentors, like many were mentors to them when they were just coming up. And there's this overwhelming sense of, like I said, the triumvirate, not including Jeffrey Lurie, but Hurts, Sirianni, and Howie Roseman, that they're going to be fine. Even if they have struggles along the way, which every team's going to have struggles, every team is going to face turmoil, they got us. They got us, man. And one of the things I'm most optimistic for this season that I'm kind of going into without seeing the guy play a lot, it's more so than Jalen Carter. It's more so than Jordan Davis. It's more so than even Nolan Smith. I am really excited for Nakobe Dean. One of the points I made when I was on the other day with Jody McDonald was that if I could buy stock in a player, it would be Nakobe Dean right now. If I'm buying stock in any one of those linebackers, it's Nakobe Dean. And you could, certainly include edge rusher and Nolan Smith. And I think Nolan Smith's going to have a one hell of a rookie season. And I think he's going to flirt with double digits in sacks. And I've said that I've said that since the draft. With this defense, on this defensive line, he's going to eat. And then to Kobe Dean, you trust in the agility, you trust in the speed, you trust in the instincts. Those three things from the linebacker position are things that we just haven't seen with great regularity. Now, you can talk about TJ Edwards and talk about his instincts, good instincts. You can absolutely talk about that, but you didn't really see him get after the quarterback. It wasn't part of the defense. Speed, certainly not his strong suit. Any coverage play that he was drawn in on, you can certainly tell that. I'm not saying he wasn't a good linebacker. I'm just saying speed specifically. Nakobe Dean with that speed, agility, and smarts. We haven't had a big opportunity to see that at the linebacker position. We haven't seen somebody invested in linebacker position like a third-round pick in a while. It's pretty remarkable. And that's what the Eagles now are going to have as their starting middle linebacker heading into the season. And you guys know on this show, we've had Nakobe Dean on a couple of times. He did one of our episodes of SkyDrive. Brilliant guy, off the charts brilliant. And he knows he just has everything to prove in the upcoming season. He's going to be playing with that chip on his shoulder that he should have been playing last year. He won't say that out loud because he still wants to give respect to his former teammate in TJ Edwards. And he didn't say it last year. TJ Edwards was cooking. Like, what am I going to go out there and take his job? No, man, that defense was cooking without him, so they stuck with it. Well, every time we've talked to him, he said he was healthy last year, and he said he knew the playbook. It was just a matter of it wasn't broke, so don't fix it. Now it's going to be his opportunity to take charge. And by all accounts, as the defensive signal caller, the guy has taken charge. Certainly helps that you got some other Georgia Bulldogs that, of course, already got that respect for you. But if I'm buying stock in somebody on this Eagles defense for the upcoming season, it's Nakobe Dean. There might be a learning curve with Jalen Carter. There might be still a curve to be learned there with Jordan Davis and Nolan Smith and obviously those rookies that you have out there. And even Sidney Brown if he gets opportunities to start this season. And how about Kayvon Wallace getting some reps there at the free safety spot? That's interesting. But if it's one guy I'm looking at on this defense, turn some heads, that needs to prove something to people, that A, he should have been a first-round pick, and B, that he should have played last year more than what he did, 20 snaps last year, if that. It's Nakobe Dean. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing his career really take off this season. Something else I'm looking at here with this Eagle squad is Quez Watkins, because so far it does not seem like it was all talk from Nick Sirianni a month and a half ago when OTAs broke. OTAs break. Nick Sirianni's out there talking about how great. I'll tell you, one guy is great. Quez Watkins. Love that Quez Watkins. There was debate. My man Hunter Brody and I was on his schmoozin' show. We were kicking it around about Quez Watkins. Were they just building him up to trade him? Do they really like Zacchaeus or whatever? No, it seems legit because you talk about guys that are turning heads at training camp right now, albeit training camp, and Quez Watkins is one of them. I would love to see him literally get the ball and run with it. I'd love to see that. I'm rooting for him. I think the guy has put in the work. The guy has certainly had his struggles last year, some big drops and some big moments. But nothing's better than a redemption story. And I'd love to see him be able to do that. The speed is obviously still there. I know Olamide Zacchaeus is another guy that they look at that has great speed as well. He's, I think a guy that will make the team. But as far as a guy that will be a regular third wide receiver option, I think that will absolutely be Quez Watkins. That's what I thought at the end of OTAs. I didn't think Nick Sirianni was just blowing smoke. I don't think he thinks about the transactions. I don't think he thinks about the business side of it. I think he leaves that up to Howie Roseman. So I don't think when Nick Sirianni is going out there to talk to the media, he's going, who can I sucker into trading for Quez Watkins? I don't think he's thinking that. I think he's thinking about being legit and being real. So that's why I thought what he said was genuine. And so far in training camp, he's been one of the guys that has really turned heads as a guy that is showing up ready to play and showing up ready to keep his job as the third target for Jalen Hurts. So I look forward to that. One side story that keeps on getting brought up whenever I do talk to Jody Matone is the tight ends. This is interesting. We don't talk about this. There's usually like this transition over the last 10 years, we've seen this nice transition. We've seen, other than LJ Smith to Brent Selleck. So starting at Brent Selleck to Zach Ertz. That was a nice transition. That was, hey, 2 tight ends that could catch and block for you. That's pretty good. And then, Ertz, of course, got a better blocking as his career went on. And then Ertz to Goddard. Beautiful transition. That's 3 straight tight ends. Now, Goddard's here. He's young. He's in this problem. I'm not looking for him to hand it off to anybody. But now I'm looking around going, okay, who's the next target? Grant Calcaterra? I don't think so. Jack Stahl? I don't think so. Who's the guy? Who's the next guy to be another target for Jalen Hurts? They love Tyree Jackson. And I like Tyree Jackson. Talking about a redemption story, the guy's been injured so many times. You want him to fight back. Former quarterback, 6'7", big body. You'd love to see him out there. Dan Arnold's the guy that was most recently with the Jacksonville Jaguars, a veteran tight end. I think his fifth team since 2016. He's been around a minute. He can definitely go up and make a catch. The knock on him is that he doesn't block all that well. But the tight end position right now with the Philadelphia Eagles is an interesting one for me because as of right now, there's no number 2 guy. They like to run that 12 personnel. We'll see if Brian Johnson likes to run that 12 personnel. There's no second guy. Then you could also, not just a guy, you have guys that can go in there and block. But the guys that can be that dual threat, you don't really have. You didn't really have it last year either. I get it. But it's just interesting going into this year with Tyree Jackson healthy. It's something that nobody's really talking about. Who's going to be that second threat as a tight end? And look, you have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to this offense. The stacked running back room, especially if Rashad Penny stays healthy. Let me just say that once. Wide receivers, obviously. I mean, we're talking about a battle for the 3rd wide receiver spot, okay? That means your 2 other ones are pretty damn good. You do have a number 1 tight end in Dallas Goedert, a guy that I think can make a Pro Bowl if he stays healthy. So you look around that tight end room and you're going, all right, well, who else is in that room that can help you out? Interesting conversation considering from Selleck to Ertz to Goddard, we've been pretty spoiled at least to having 2 guys in there that can make a play for you. Whether that's a block or that's a catch. So that's something that I think we haven't talked about a lot, but something that's definitely worth noting. And I am very excited. The running back room, I know people are talking about this running back thing and running back by committee. It is going to be a running back by committee. I don't need the training. I don't need really training camp or the preseason to really know that. It's going to be DeAndre Swift. It's going to be Rashad Penny. It's going to be Kenny Gainwell. Not even in that order. That'll change. I think the guy that's going to get the most touches this year is DeAndre Swift. I think the guy that's going to get the most carries this year is Kenny Gainwell. And I think the guy that is going to be the more thud guy, even though he's supposedly down some weight, is Rashad Penny. And then you're going to have Boston Scott for at least 2 weeks this year where he just absolutely murders the Giants. That'll be fun to watch. I always look forward to that of course, giant killing ability of Boston Scott. But that's what I'm looking at right now. And I do find it interesting that the second-team reps and I think some first-team reps there were with Kayvon Wallace before they were with Sidney Brown. That says one thing to me. That says playbook. That says, and look, he's a rookie. You can grade him on a curve all you want, but it says playbook. Maybe with Sidney Brown, gets to digest the playbook a little bit more, have a better understanding for what Sean Desai and this Eagles defense is doing. He'll be able to take off a little bit. But this is a guy that we were talking about maybe 2 weeks ago with our friend Derek Gunn about how Sidney Brown could be potentially starting over Reed Blankenship, and you'd have Terrell Edmonds and Sidney Brown. And we're all rooting for a rookie, of course. But I'd be looking for him to take a more of a lead role next to Reed Blankenship. But we'll see how that all plays out. Let me get to our man Smitty here coming up in a second. But first, let me tell you about the great people. Oh, and we're going to reverse it a little bit today. I'm going to get your reads. I'm going to do the spots, do the commercials, do the chat check, and then we'll get to our friend Smitty. And please, pardon any Phillies optimism to start things out. But let me tell you about Steven Singer. Steven Singer, always optimistic to be Steven Singer. And talk about Steven Singer, the other corner of Nathan Wana, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven's been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people fall in love and get engaged. And what does Steven like to do? He likes to provide the perfect price. Now, what's that perfect price? The perfect price is something beautiful. The perfect price means no haggling, no pressure sales. You don't have to go in there and be like, how about this price? And they got, nah, but then you go back and forth, and nobody wants to do that. You just want to concentrate on the beautiful piece of diamond jewelry that you want to buy for that special someone in your life. Or maybe even you're treating yourself, huh? Steven Singer Jewelers get treated like a real family member at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. So hang out at Steven Singer Jewelers for everything at the perfect price. How about the amazing people at Manscaped? Manscaped.com, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped in their skin-safe technology that helps you reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. So check out Manscaped at manscaped.com and enjoy their Platinum Package 4.0, which includes their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer as well as their Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. And yes, they do come with skin-safe technology. So check out Manscaped at manscaped.com. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You'll love their tropical tasting Bayox and clocks into the chart topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu. Kush. Microphone did something crazy there. I almost Trea Turner that one. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that was cheap shot. So check out Freestone Farm CBD at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. See how you guys are doing on this fine day. By the way, I'm just looking at myself in the monitor. Man, you can tell it was a 12-inning game last night, unless I look this haggard usually. Anyway, let's start it over here on the Farzy Show page. Sean Kilray, what's going on? Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Sean Gillespie, yes, Jersey talk all day. Good programming. Thank you. The Flyers crest is like one of the greatest jerseys in the world. I'm not even kidding when I say that. Jerseys, let's go outside Philadelphia. My favorite jersey that I see is a team that doesn't even exist anymore. My favorite jersey is a team that doesn't even exist. Like non-Philadelphia. Okay, so all Philadelphia, and then piles of crap, and then other jerseys. Well, this one I wouldn't put under the pile of crap. I put it above the pile of crap, under the Philadelphia jerseys. But there is one jersey. I'm going to see if anybody else can get it by the end of the chat. There's one jersey of an outside Philadelphia team that doesn't even exist anymore. But when I see it, I always go, hey, nice. Whoever's wearing it, if I pass them on the street and they happen to be donning that jersey, or give you another hit, sweater, I go, hey, you. So we'll go to that. Sean Gillespie, anything okay? Do you use a razor or electric blade for your head shaves? Sean Gillespie, I use a razor. I use a razor now. Back when I had to like drive places, right? I would use the skull shaver, which was great in the car. I used that. But now that I work from home, I use the old razor there. I just enjoy it. It's like I can get 2 days out of not shaving my head if I use a razor. If I use the skull shaver, I'll generally get 1 day. Sean Kilrain, you can thank Lori's ex-wife for the dark green jerseys. In case anyone was wondering, gang green Kelly jerseys all day Farzy. Damn right. Yeah, that was a big thing. I literally remember. I've told this story before, but I remember doing I was at a Q&A with Don Smolinski, president, business ops of the Eagles, and Howie Roseman. And I was in a Q&A, and it was a big thing for sponsors and stuff, and I was in attendance, and it was when I was working at WIP, and I remember going there, and Michael Vick, it was right around the time that Michael Vick was really breaking back into the league. A lot of the stuff with dogfighting and everything had already started to not be talked about a lot because he had an MVP caliber season. He was second, I think, to Tom Brady that year. But I remember it was following that year, and people were asking, somebody asked about Mike Vick. And Smolinski and Roseman were both like sat up in their chairs. They answered the question, and it was cool, and everyone answered the question. And it was like a somewhat controversial question. It was about, the reformed Michael Vick, if you will. And then somebody asked about the Kelly green jerseys. Granted, this is like 10 years ago. Maybe 8 years ago. No, it was 10 years ago. And somebody was like, Hey, when are we going to get Kelly Green jerseys back? And you saw Smolinski and Roseman like squirming in their seats. They didn't want to talk about it. I don't asking about the Kelly Green. It was like the most controversial question you could have asked. Okay. They were more nervous answering questions about Kelly Green than they were Michael Vick. And I just thought, wow, we are never going to see this color again. Then Jason Avant. I remember talking to Jason Avant. Jason Avant flat out told me, the Lorries, man, you're never going to see they hate the Kelly Green. Then I talked to some other alumni. Oh, yeah, they're never. Not going to happen. And then Jeffrey Lorie's saying the thing about the midnight green not matching the helmet if they went to the Kelly Green helmet. And I'm like, it already doesn't match. You have a Kelly Green helmet, and then you say you have the Kelly Green on the jersey for the black jerseys, and it's not the same color. It doesn't match. What the hell are you talking about? Anyway. We got milk cartons with Trea Turner, Sean Kilrain. Fuji! What's up, Fuji? What's going on, buddy? Will the real Trea Turner please show up? I would love to see it. April! Can we just use Turner to run for Schwarbs? I'm with you. Mike Fuji, what's up? Bring on that Kingery kid. Play him at short. Ooh. Scott Kingery just hit a grand slam the other night, didn't he? I still pull for Scott Kingery. You know, when the Phillies are supposed to be good in a playoff team, I definitely check the minor leagues less than I should. But, you know, that's the spoils of having a team that's supposed to be in the playoffs. But that's where we're at. Anyway, I'll try to get you guys Kingery stuff. What else do we got here? What is happening with the world? What? Stop that nonsense with your nonsense. Maron. Ah! By the way, Lil Toots is now saying Maron. All right, this is just, you know what? This computer just doesn't want to play nice with me. It's not kind. It's not kind. By the way, speaking of not being kind, remember yesterday when I was desperately searching for Aaron Nola's numbers with 6 days rest? So I told you guys yesterday that so far this season, he's got 4 starts with 6 or more days rest. This is Aaron Nola. He's 2-0. Now let's go back to last year, okay? 2022, 5 starts with 6 or more days rest. 3-1 in those starts with a 3.03 ERA. So his last 2 seasons, he's had a total of 9 starts, and he's 5-1 in those starts with an ERA around, let's call it 2.94. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. There we go. I give you those stats that I looked up before the show to give you these stats that I'm looking up right now. Last I looked, Kingery wasn't doing well. He had started hitting long balls again, which was nice. But everything else, and not so nice. Okay. You don't want to be nice and just give me stats. Then screw you, bucko. Stats and scores? That should do it, right? AAA baseball. AAA website, if you ask me. All right, where are we at with Scott Kingery here? Oh, he's got the average up to 268. Oh, 342 on base percentage for Scotty Jetpacks. And yeah, 12 home runs. That's pretty good. Where's his game log? Are they still providing that information? No. Screw you, bucko. Yeah. All right. So anyway, yeah, bring up Kingery. Have him play second. Move Stott over to short. That's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at right now, folks. Sealski sucks. Had to throw it out there since Dan is taking a break. April, thank you. I'm sure Mike Sealski appreciates it too. Hey, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Mihai Sanchez. Trea Turner needs a week or 2 off. Greg Soto and Dylan Covey both need to be DFA'd. How about this? Dylan Covey was pitching lights out. He threw 3 pitches and had 2 outs. Dylan Covey got Luis Arraez out. On 1 pitch, he flew out to center field. Bringing that Georgia Bulldogs defense. Let's go. You see the Phillies believe Craig Kimbrell was tipping his pitches. Yeah. Marlins runner on second, tapped his head. Yeah. The runner on second, and then I think the on-deck batter was doing stuff too. I don't know if he was just mimicking what was on second or what, but yeah, that's why he had the intentional balk. Quez said he's an elite receiver. Get the hell out of here. Hey, man. Keep that confidence, bro. Hey, thank God football season's right around the corner. Philadelphia. Oh, Jersey guesses. Okay, I'll get to that. The depth of wide receiver concerns me. Quez hopefully will redeem himself. Boop. Like the positivity. Thank you. It's Howie's vision. We're all just living in it. Houston Oilers, not the Houston Oilers. I do like that jersey, though. Philadelphia Firebirds, no. Houston Oilers, I'm with April. Wow, a lot of Oilers. All right, hold on. Who was the first to get it? I thought somebody else said it. Okay, I'm going to go with other guesses before I get to the ones that people think it is, or the one that it is. Quebec Nord. What did you call them, Fuji? Is that autocorrect from Nordiques? Nope, it's not the Nordiques. April, I now have a throwback tattoo since TU Athletics changed their logo. Does that count? Absolutely, it counts. By the way, so I saw Larry Dougherty say that it's a secondary logo, and I like it. I think it's cool. So yeah, no, the jersey that if I'm walking down the street and I see somebody in this sweater or even wearing the cap of the Hartford Whalers, oh man, that brings me instant joy. Former Whaler Chris Pronger. I remember playing that for him when he first came to Philadelphia, and he was like, "Oh man, yeah, I know that tune, Hartford Whalers, baby." I was actually in Hartford once. I went there for lunch. I was passing through on my way to Boston, and we stopped at a bar. And it was a high-class establishment, if I do say so myself. And I remember a couple of people had the Whalers things on still. And, we start talking, me and my group and their group, whatever. And they're like, oh, yeah, people are still really bummed. And this was 15 years after the Whalers had moved out. And still very heartbroken. Oh, and I also remember the waitress told us, she said, are you guys from out of town? And we said, yes. And she said, you guys should come by on Saturday night. I quote unquote, I take my top off for strangers. True story. And we literally had tickets to the Red Sox game that night. Otherwise, we would have made the whatever it was 3-hour drive, whatever it was 2 hours. I don't know what it is from Hartford, Connecticut to Boston, but maybe we would have come back. Anyway, real nice people up there, real kind, outgoing people. So yeah, yes, Hartford Whalers. If you say the Hartford Whalers, you win a prize. Jason A. What's up? Oh, it was PJ. You said it, Hartford Whalers. You win a prize. And no, we have never discussed that, so we didn't have inside information. Jason A. on Jacob Media. Bench him, please. Disgusting. I assume that's Trea Turner. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize, but we are going to end the show with this. There's some Phillies optimism in our conversation with Barstool Smitty, but we do talk Eagles as well, so hang out there. Where is the restaurant? Sean Gillespie says, you know what? While I'm in the midst of doing a little in-game research, oh, God, what was the name of that? Hartford Bar with No Name. That was the name of the bar with no name. Oh, it's now called but that wasn't the name of it. I just remember that was the name of the bar across the street. So I remember the bar across the street from the bar. But I'm going to see if this bar, it was like McLennan's or something. It was like an Irish pub type John. Okay. I'm looking at a Connecticut Science Center. Nerds. All right. Just kidding. All right. I'm not seeing it up on Google Maps. You know what I'll do? Irish pubs in Hartford. That'll be only 2, right? No. The Corner Pub, no. Half Door, no. Vaughn's Public House, no. It was down there, man. Just see if it comes here. Just seeing if it comes here. No. Yep, not coming up. That's as much time I'm going to throw at it. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, talk to our friend. Now, we mostly react to the deadline acquisition of Michael Lorenzen, who will make the start today for the Phillies. Phillies got 12:10 start time today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. You guys are great. Without further ado, jump on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, talk to our friend Barstool Smitty about the Phillies, the deadline acquisitions, the optimism, hopefully, for the Phils, as well as the Philadelphia Eagles, and what's the best situation here with that James Harden fellow. Thanks, everybody. Jim Hyden produced. See you guys tomorrow. Right now, you know him from Barstool. You read him from Barstool. You watch him on Barstool. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Smitty Smith of Barstool. Smitty, what's going on, man?
Watch, living the dream. Living the dream. We got the kids, we got the Phils, and we got training camp. What more can you ask for?
That's a full schedule right there, especially if you throw the kids in there. Yee, that's a full schedule. Hey, man, I had to have you on because I saw this tweet from yesterday, and it really covered kind of both my reactions, both my emotions approaching the 6 p.m. trade deadline for Major League Baseball on Tuesday. The Dom Bomb. Your first reaction was solid. Good for as a rental, as a six-man rotation. Bump Sanchez, long reliever, maybe in the pen. Maybe actually Lorenzen ends up doing that. Give up some decent prospect and leave, but nothing superstarish.
Yeah, it was almost the word.
Almost the word. Yeah, I know, right? And then you go on to say, now just go get a bat. Let me ask you this. How happy are you that the Phillies got somebody for the rotation, potentially somebody for long relief as well? And then how disappointed that they didn't get that bat? What's both sides of the coin there?
I have, after last year's run, I have learned that, or knew before that, just to trust Dombrowski or whatever he does. He's earned it. He earned it with the Marlins. He earned it with the Red Sox winning rings. He earned it with the Tigers almost winning them rings. And he earned it turning around the shark show that he was given with the farm system here with Clentac and rebuilding this organization to a pennant winner. I'm going to trust him no matter what. I like getting the arm, Lorenzen. He's a great short-term rental. It shores up the rotation. The Phillies now, I'm not going to say that they do, but they arguably have the best rotation in baseball from top to bottom, bullpen all the way down to Wheeler as the ace. They might not have like the best single individual fireballer in the pen or in the starting rotation, but they're just consistent. Like that's what's been keeping them in games. Has been their pitching going deep and their bullpen been lighting it out, and that's without Alvarado. That's without Sir Anthony, even though he had to save last night. And then that's with Aaron Nola not really knowing like what the hell he's doing. I mean, Taijuan Walker's leading the league in wins. Ranger Suarez hopefully is coming around. I mean, Wheeler's been dominant. Sanchez, he probably could pitch you a sixth inning every once in a while, but he's been serviceable. And now you add in Lorenzen. I mean, they are stocked going into the playoffs, and that's great. Would I have loved a good right-handed bat to play the outfield to get Schwarber out of there from the most part? Yeah, I think Dombrowski tried. There's rumors for Hernandez from Seattle. The Duvall was also another one. I mean, just there wasn't much trades going on in general around the league, and I think he tried, but I'm okay without the bat. The top part of the superstars haven't been playing like superstars at all, besides Harper. That's going to come around hopefully towards now and the end of the season. And if that happens and you minimize Jake Cave a little bit in left, maybe you go Rojas in center and Marsh in left full time, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
The one thing I want to say is you look at the pitching staff, and you're right. They have been consistent. Individuals have been inconsistent, Aaron Nola, but as a whole, even in like a Nola rough start, usually you'll see the bullpen come in and settle things. Same thing with Zach Wheeler, although he's found some consistency. Now, at the time we tape this, he pitches tonight, so watch him, get shelled. But, for the most part, he has been one of their more consistent starting pitchers. Suarez has had his ups and downs, just had a really good start. Taijuan Walker has been more consistent. So adding this arm and giving a rest to guys like Zach Wheeler and giving a rest to a guy like Aaron Nola could certainly be beneficial.
Yeah, and you saw that going in the World Series last year with Nola and Wheeler. They probably wouldn't admit it, but that year they were spent a little bit. That's why I said in that tweet, I wouldn't mind a six-man rotation. I would not mind that at all, just to give those top two guys a rest. Because if you want to win a World Series, they have to come down and slam it around, up and down, all over the place, come NLCS and World Series time. And you saw it up until the World Series last year.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said about Dave Dombrowski, because I was just talking about this on yesterday's show, and it's so interesting. Now, just as a comparison, I remember driving around Pittsburgh when they had just won. I was out there for work, and I remember driving around Pittsburgh, and they were just coming off their last Super Bowl victory. They had just beaten the Cardinals in the Super Bowl. I remember driving around in Pittsburgh, and I remember listening to sports talk radio out there talk about a Steelers franchise that didn't know what they were doing. And of course, at that point, I remember like in Philadelphia, you could get away with this because there's no one has won a championship other than the Phillies at that point. Okay, in recent memory, Phillies had just won the World Series, but you can't talk about an organization like that. You have to be able to trust your Steelers. They've won 7 Super Bowls then at that point. So I remember thinking about that. What happens if that ever happens in Philadelphia? So not that we've had a slew of championships here in Philadelphia, but Howie Roseman has now been to 2 Super Bowls in 5 years with two different coaches and 2 different quarterbacks. The Phillies now have Dave Dombrowski as their president of baseball operations, and he's been now to 5 World Series. He's won 2 of them. Like, is there just an ultimate, trust going on right now between, you say, like Eagles fan bases and the Howie Roseman, as there is now with the Phillies front office and the Phillies fan base?
Well, Howie had a long time to figure it out, and he had to earn it. I think we all know that. I mean, Howie was GM during the Dream Team. Howie survived to the point to turn it around to win a Super Bowl, especially after hiring Chip Kelly. People forget that he was part of hiring Chip Kelly. Like, good for him. Good for him. He figured it out. He ultimately swallowed his pride with drafting, which was his worst part of being a GM by far. He basically put out a Twitter poll on who I should select after picking Jalen Reagor, and has been accurate, or he's picked the best SEC player available. It ain't that hard, and he's done that, and he's showing success. I'll give him credit for Jalen Hurts as well. I mean, nobody saw that coming. In fact, he was getting railed for it at the time. But he's earned it. He's earned it. Dombrowski earned it before he got to Philly.
Right.
And credit to Middleton and management for seeing that, hey, maybe they shouldn't just try to find the next Billy Bean. And if Dombrowski's there, somebody established like Pat Gillick was there after Ed Wade, might as well go with him. And it's working out. His eye for talent is second to none, and he's proven it. And I will blindly trust him with whatever goes on. Howie, I'll probably still question.
Okay, yeah, we have to. I mean, it's more fun that way. I'm curious, when you talk to your compatriots there at Barstool, and you guys got people from all over, of course, the country there, but especially, New York Mets fans, especially Patriots fans, all that. I'm curious for a couple things. One, with the Phillies, how are they handling the Phillies really starting to bury the Mets and the Mets burying themselves when it comes to all the selling they did at the trade deadline?
It's interesting at Barstool with the Mets, because last year people claimed the NL East was over in late May, June. And there were a few realistic people out there who just like, it's the Mets. Like, we've been through this before. Remember 2007? Remember basically our entire lives? And there are others who just felt cocky and got the steam and were blowing it. And you saw what happened last year. And this year, karma is king, and it's come right back to them. So they're not really worried about the Phillies. They're more worried about themselves, and they're sad about it, as they should be. If you have the highest payroll in Major League Baseball history, possibly even like sports history, and are waving the white flag by August, that's an embarrassment. They should feel bad about their team. They should feel bad about themselves. And maybe once they get that, $120 million that they're paying players not to pay on their team, which is more than, I think, like 12 ball clubs, they won't say, get that off the books, they'll have a chance again. But, hey, Uncle Stevie, good for you. Keep spending that money. Maybe not the right way, but keep spending that illegal SEC money earned. Congrats.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to this Phillies lineup, we've obviously watched the struggles of Trea Turner all year long. Nick Castellanos just had the home run in Tuesday night's game against the Marlins there, which was great to see him do that. Is there a Philly that you still think is just raring to break out and start really carrying this team?
Let's see if Reese comes back in the playoffs.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. Oh, a little outside the box there. I like that, friend.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice to see. Everybody besides Trea Turner has gotten hot at some point this season. I mean, Castellanos was first half All-Star and then struggled. Schwarber had June. He had Hoagie Fest and continues to struggle after that. I think hopefully, like last year, they all come at the right time and push towards the playoffs and start playing together. But I mean, Schwarber and Castellanos and Turner are the three that kind of just need to be more consistent. And Harper's always going to bring it, always has, always will. I mean, you saw it last night in the ninth again. The real story of this team and this lineup is three guys, in my opinion: Marsh, Bohm, and Stott. Three guys you don't really think that have been the glue of the lineup up and down all year, but they have been. They've been consistent. They've been doing their thing, and that's what's been keeping the top of the order, which has struggled at times, together, and that's what's been keeping them winning games. So as long as those guys and Harper keep at it, and hopefully Harper and Castellanos and shit, maybe even Trea Turner one of these days gets it going, like they're going to be just fine.
All right, playoff bound.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, all right.
I mean, the Marlins, like, just look at the teams around you. You're not worried about the Mets like last year anymore. The Marlins pitching staff, great. I don't think they have enough firepower in their lineup, and they didn't really improve that much. Yeah, they got Josh Bell, but like even like Mean Gene, I didn't know he was struggling that bad there. I wouldn't mind seeing him back in red, but they're not going to stay around. They're going to falter. The Diamondbacks, young ball club, basically won already this year. They're happy. They're not going to stick around. I think Gabe Klappler is doing a great job out there. He's got guys you never even heard of winning again. They'll probably be in the mix, but other than that, I mean, the NL Central, the Reds have been great as of late. I don't know how they're going to react to a playoff push. Brewers are so inconsistent as well. Cubs aren't going to stay there. So, I mean, there's just between the three spots outside of the Braves, who are obviously winning the NL East, I think the Phillies pretty much easily win one of them, if not the top spot.
Mm-hmm. All right, great. That sounds awesome. I want to tap into that pulse again there from outside markets. Jalen Hurts seems like he keeps on getting disrespected by people outside the Philadelphia market, not really knowing how good he is. People bumping him outside top 5 on the list of best quarterbacks in the NFL and all that stuff. From your opinion and also the opinions you hear, what do you make of Jalen Hurts, and what do the people you're around make of Jalen Hurts?
My opinion of Jalen Hurts is he is everything you want in a football player and a human that is possible. We all knew that as a human coming into the last year, off the field. He's a great humanitarian. He works his balls to the bone, and he does everything and says everything that you want out of your franchise quarterback. It's just a question of if he could make better decisions with the football, which I thought he could improve on, and basically go from an 80 throwing power and accuracy up to like a 90 in men. And he went up to like an 80. He went from an 80 to like a 95 last year in both. And I've never seen that happen in my lifetime with any quarterback in one season. I didn't think that was possible. He can just grow arm strength and accuracy like that. And he did. And he earned it. So I'm fully on board. Those are my only two concerns. Mm-hmm. And he has definitely come around in my mind. And the only reason that people outside of this market put him down is because they either think he's still like a running quarterback, even though his passing numbers like just blew everybody out of the water, or they're just not watching every play of every game like we do. We see it. We see the touch on the ball. We see the plays that he makes. It's unbelievable what he did last year. And if he was a bit of a diva or did not have that work ethic coming in before he was a superstar, maybe I would question maybe a little bit of a fallback. I don't see it. If anything, I think he improves and actually wins MVP.
No, I just want to go back to a phrase. He works balls to the bone. Did I get that right?
Balls of the bone, baby. It's Jalen Hurts.
If that's not on a T-shirt yet, man,
Sure.
we need to get that on.
You got it.
I'm just picturing like the writers at the combine just taking notes on the player. Did he work balls to the bone? Like Ray Didinger. Hey, he worked ball to the bone.
If you can get Ray Didinger to just say that phrase, I think you won.
And what about everybody else that you talk to of the national scene there? Why are people not convinced that Jalen Hurts is amongst the elite quarterbacks in the NFL?
They just didn't watch him outside the playoffs. They just didn't, and they just don't realize what he can do. And between that and overvaluing other quarterbacks who might have a lot of potential but haven't done it like he did last year, like a Joe Burrow. When's Josh Allen really gonna put it all together team wise for a year like Jalen Hurts did last year with this team? People put Trevor Lawrence, so it's still a lot of potential above Jalen Hurts sometimes. I get it, but I've seen Jalen Hurts play. I know he's better than basically every quarterback out there besides Patrick Mahomes.
Gotcha. I want to ask you one final question, and it's something that we don't really talk about much because thank God for training camp, and thank God the Phillies are, again, I'll say this with them playing tonight, but hitting a bit of a stride here, hopefully. We don't have to talk about that James Harden fella with the 76ers. Do you have an outcome in particular that you're rooting for? Like, does everybody eventually hold hands and sing Kumbaya and he's back and everything's fine? Or do you want just Maxey and Embiid to be running the show here in Philly?
Kumbaya is the best case scenario for the team. I think it happens. Probably not. I think either he gets shipped, but by all accounts, Daryl Morey isn't going to trade him for peanuts. So he might have to report to training camp, and he might show up in a fat suit again, which, it'll be great content, but it really doesn't do much. I think their hands are obviously tied with this, and it stinks because it doesn't make them the greatest team that they possibly can be. But I'm fine with running with Maxey and Embiid because that's what you got. Like, what else? What else you're really going to do? And I think they will be competitive with that solely because of Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse might put that window of Embiid MVP wise. What he has 3 to 5 years max at playing at that level as a big man. Nick Nurse might run him into the ground and maybe turn that into 1 to 2 years possibly, but he will get all of the most out of every single player on that team and actually coach them well, unlike some in the past who might not have. So I'm very excited about that to see what they can do. Tobias Harris is one guy I think is going to have a phenomenal year under Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's going to be coached the right way. He's not going to be put in a position where he's just spotting up on the outside and trying to be a knockdown JJ Redick shooter like what they try to make him be over the last 2+ years just to fit in as a max contract player. Nick Nurse is going to get the best out of him, and he's looking for another contract. I think he's going to come ready to roll and excel.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good, man. I'm with you, by the way, as far as Tobias Harris goes. I think for Maxey and for Embiid to an extent, because I think he'll be good under anybody, but other guys that I'm looking to just take that step forward. Maxey continue to take steps forward, and I want Tobias Harris to take a step back, as in a step back into the role that he had when he was with the Clippers, and that we've been longing for so long. And I think a guy like Nick Nurse can make that happen for him. Smitty, Adam Smitty Smith, Barstool, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for jumping on with us, man.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys are following all things Smitty on all social media platforms and, of course, at Barstool as well. Thanks, Smitty.